Hello everyone, welcome or welcome back to Devlog 3. Sorry for the wait, again. Turns out I'm really bad at this whole scheduling thing, but hopefully not too late by the time this is edited. Today I'm going to talk a lot more about the calendar system and in general the mechanics of the game. UI and menus basically, but since it's a visual novel, those are basically the mechanics of the game. There's not too many because of the genre, again, visual novel, but I still think it's worth talking about. So there are three main mechanics I will be talking about today. Okay, are they on screen? Okay, first we have the calendar. This was surprisingly difficult to get working, mainly because I made it really clunkily the first time. Far too many if statements, but here it is now. The UI is still a work in progress, but I want to make it look more like an actual calendar going forward, like the one the detective would actually carry around with them from place to place. I did some sketches for that, so I'll show those on screen. Mechanically, it serves a dual purpose. It both helps the player keep track of time and date, and maintain a clear idea about their progression, so like you know, events that happened before the game that you find out about, usually related to the murder, they will appear on the calendar in the previous days. And, you know, stuff that happens during the game, of course, will show up in the calendar as well as time progresses. So you can keep track of everything. I'm thinking of having it show even between playthroughs as a sort of new game plus, but let me know what you think. Of course, any events that happened after the detective arrived would need to be erased from it, or, you know, it'll be a bit confusing. But I can keep what you learned about the pre-game, about, you know, the lead up to the murder. I think it would be really helpful since, as I mentioned in the last video, the game is intended to be replayed, and it would be a bit annoying to have the calendar reset every time. I think maybe you could have some kind of record kept for the previous route. Again, I'm not sure. Tell me what you think. If I haven't already shown a video, I'll put it here. Okay, so this part is much simpler than the other two. It's a hints menu, pretty much like an evidence menu. It'll be relevant later. So basically, while you progress in the game, you may learn specific things that are particularly important, so they're stored as hints in the hint menu. It might be helpful later, especially when you're getting closer to solving the case. It works basically alongside the calendar to keep track of the information you learn, to remind you and everything, especially if you leave the game for a while and come back to it years later. Well, hopefully not years. I have done that though. But it's important to have something to remind you of all the things that you need to know. Even if you play through it mostly in one go, it's hard to remember everything, especially in games like this. On to the more exciting stuff. So, the interrogation system. Now, this is not fully implemented into the game yet, and it only currently occurs a couple of times during Chapter 1, and by that I mean that there are 2 possible occurrences of it on 2 routes. So depending on which route you take, you might not even see it. So that's something I might need to change. But here it is. It is slightly inspired by the one in LA Noire, a game I have actually never played, but regardless, I think it is quite iconic. Also with elements from Danganronpa, of course, but in this version, at least in this stage, there are 4 main commands. Yell, talk softly, show evidence, which will open the hints menu, and question. I was thinking of having another minigame here, Danganronpa style, but this seems like the most straightforward way of doing things. I mostly added this because a couple of key moments just weren't having the intensity they deserved just from dialogue, and I felt they needed a little something extra. It also allows the player to feel more connected to the act of like actually getting the confession out, whereas before I think sometimes you do feel a little bit disconnected because it's mostly just the player character talking for you and you select a few choices every so often. So I think this is a bit more engaging. So that's most of it. I don't know if I'll have a video again by now because it's very unfinished, but you'll at least have some sketches on the screen. So hopefully that's entertaining enough. Huh? Who? Oh. Do we really need to hear about the incident? What do you mean? Well, I just wanted to talk about... Well, I don't know what that was about exactly, but at least we are able to get through most of the important bits there. So next, I thought maybe I could talk about the music. Most of it isn't quite finished yet, but I thought I'd play a couple of snippets of the current versions for you. So here they are. And that's all for today. Not so much, since I think I've already gone over a lot of the story things in previous videos, and anything more feels very much like a spoiler. So I'm definitely going to need to think about how I'm going to do these going forward, but I do really want to keep you all up to date and everything. But yeah, I'll think of something. Thank you so much for watching as usual. And if you'd like to, remember to like and subscribe. No issues if not, of course. Okay, I won't keep you any longer. Goodbye!